Welcome to Chris's Storytelling Corner. This is Christopher Moldon. Today, I'm going to do a movie review for Baby Driver. Be sure to also check out my manga review for Your Lie in April, volumes 6 and 7, and my reading of my short story, The Underachievers, pages 1 and 2. Next time, I'll have a movie review for Spider-Man Homecoming, a manga review for Your Lie in April, volumes 8 and 9, and a reading of The Underachievers, pages 3 and 4. You can check out my author's website at www.chrismoldon.com. You can buy my first novel, a fantasy adventure called The Mustard Prince in the Condiment Kingdom, for $4.99. Also, for $2.99, you can buy my short story collection, a collection of 10 short stories into horror, fantasy, and realistic fiction genres. Check out my Twitter page and author's Facebook page. Links to all these will be provided on the description. Don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. So, the way that this is going to work is I am going to give a full recap of the movie Baby Driver. So, there will have spoilers. I'm just going to spoil the whole movie pretty much. After that, I will give my thoughts on the movie, how I rate it, the story itself, some of the other things, and of course the characters. So, let's get right to it. Let's recap Baby Driver. So, Baby, a young and talented getaway driver from Atlanta, Georgia, relies on the personal beat of his preferred soundtrack to be the best getaway driver, as music heightens his focus and reflexes to extreme levels. A car accident as a child killed both his parents and left them with severe tinnitus, which he blocks out using music. He also records his everyday conversations with a small tape recorder, and then he remixes them, those conversations, into songs using like old school audio equipment. He's the preferred driver of Doc, who's a mastermind heist planner. And Baby drives for Doc because he has a debt that he incurred when he was much younger after stealing one of Doc's cars. Baby lives with his deaf foster father, Joseph, whom he cares for. Apparently, they both speak to each other via sign language. After successfully pulling off a bank robbery with the crew members Griff, Buddy, and Buddy's wife Darling, Baby and Doc agree that Baby's debt would be paid off after his next job. Between jobs, Baby meets this waitress named Deborah at a diner, and they strike up this friendship, get to know each other through music and whatnot. Baby then does his next job, which is stealing from an armored car. It's an armored car robbery with Bats, played by Jamie Foxx, No Nose, and JD. And things don't go as planned when a bystander attempts to intervene. Baby, though, makes his escape with the other three, but is pretty shaken when he sees one of the security guards killed. When they get back to the hideout, Doc informs Baby that his debt is paid. Baby is even more unnerved when he sees JD, who left a shotgun behind at the scene, dead in the trunk of one of the getaway cars. He is told to take, to dispose of that getaway car too, and he does. He actually goes to a junkyard to do it. So after that, Baby's living a normal life, more or less. Takes a job as a pizza delivery man, which Joseph approves of. He uses his first payday to take Deborah out for dinner, and in turn, The person who pays for the dinner is Doc. So he runs into Doc in the restaurant and informs him that he's needed for another job. Uh, some implied threats are involved in the negotiation of this job. So Baby agrees to do the job in order to keep Deborah and I believe he mentions Joseph as well. Keep like his loved ones safe. Him too, actually. The job turns out to be a post office robbery with Bats, Buddy, and Darling on the crew to steal a box of money orders. Baby and um, Doc's nephew, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, his nephew, cases the joint. Nephew actually is able to spot how many cameras there are, employees, and whatnot. Um, so, the crew goes to buy guns that night from the butcher. Bats kills the butcher when he recognizes that he's a policeman. And this whole gunfight happens in which Butcher's entire crew is killed. And Darling is shot in the arm. Buddy is not happy about Darling getting shot. He's very protective of her. The group stops into the diner where Deborah works after fleeing the scene. Um, Bats gets out a gun and seemingly is gonna rob the place and just might kill people or something, because that guy is Bats, you know what, crazy. But Baby stops him. So they return to Doc and they're informed that the policemen doing the deal were paid off and were the ones who were going to fence the stolen money orders. But because of Bat's mistake, Doc calls off the heist, but changes his mind once Buddy reveals that he knows someone that can um, do something with that's pretty much connected to offense as well. So Baby, though, attempts to leave and run away, but he's stopped by Bats and Buddy, who finds his recorder and tapes. Um, they then get all of his tapes to prove that he's not some sort of cop or something like that. Turns out he really does remix conversations that he makes. So the group agrees that Baby is not trying to rat on them, but Bats does notice a tape labeled Deborah, recognizing the name of the waitress from the diner. He threatens her, which pretty much coerces Baby into doing the job. So the morning of the heist, Bats kills another guard, and when the crew gets into the car, Baby waits as the crew yells at him to drive off, and he just speeds forward into a rebar from a truck parked in front of them, just crashes through the windshield, and just impales Bats and kills a guy. Buddy, Darling, and Baby flee. Buddy and Darling more or less pursue Baby, and police are pursuing all three. Darling is killed in a shootout with the police, and Buddy vows revenge on him for getting her killed. Baby takes Joseph to an assisted living home so he'll be safe, and he returns to the diner where Buddy is waiting. Baby, after some stuff happens, Baby shoots Buddy and flees with Deborah, but Buddy, the cops, all give chase. Baby then goes to Doc for help, who actually agrees to helping him after seeing him with Deborah, stating that he was in love once as well. Gives him a bag of money, and three men that were butcher's men actually come in the parking garage and try to pretty much kill them, but Doc actually defends Baby and Deborah against these three men. However, Doc is hit and killed by Buddy in a police car. Baby manages to push Buddy's car off a ledge using another vehicle and destroys it, but Buddy escapes before the car falls, and then he fires his gun next to Baby's ears, which temporarily deafens him. Deborah then attacks him before he can kill them, and Baby shoots Buddy in the leg, which sends him falling over the ledge to his death. So Deborah then drives Baby away from the scene, but they're stopped by the police. And Baby just finally surrenders and does not want Deborah to get involved with that lifestyle. So for his crimes, Baby is sentenced to 25 years in prison with a parole hearing after 5. During the court case, Joseph, one of the people, this one black woman that he stole a car from, and someone that works in the post office, actually speak in Baby's defense, speaking good of him. Um, so, in prison, Deborah sends him postcards, and she also discovers that his real name is Miles and promises to listen to music about Miles. And at the very end of the movie, you see her waiting for him outside after his release. Thoughts on the movie? So, is the movie good? The movie was great. This movie was quirky, it's offbeat, it's got a great soundtrack. Music was a big thing in this movie. Great stuff. Good action. It's really fast paced. There really aren't many. It really isn't a slow. They don't even have that many slow parts. They can be talking, and it's just kind of got that witty banter and whatnot between like heist and whatnot, or getaways and whatnot. So the action's good. The characters. I mean, there's only. I'd say there's 6 major characters. And I'm glad they have other characters, JD, Butcher, and so on and so on and so on. But as far as like the major characters go, there's only 6. Bats, Buddy, Doc, Deborah, Baby, and like Darling. Those maybe you can put Joseph in there as well. But I'm of the opinion with most movies, less is more. If you have too many characters, it's hard to really care about them and really get to know them. But in this movie, I think they just had that right amount. Good comedy as well. Um, Several characters. Baby, also named as Miles, played by Ansel Elgort. So, Ansel Elgort, the first time I've ever seen him was actually in the Divergent series, which is really interesting because, like, if you ever watch Divergent, he's probably like the 4th major character in that movie. He wasn't a guy that I thought could be a main character. He does a really good job here. There's a lot of different sides to the Baby character. He's when he's with Joseph, he's always like singing, kind of happy, dancing around. He can be walking down the street, kind of tripping over things, but kind of cool with his like coffee and whatnot. And then when he's in the car, the dude's Steve McQueen and Bullet. um, doesn't say much, doesn't reveal much too. It takes a while for you to really get to know the guy, and it's slowly but surely things start to unravel about the guy, and he pretty much is just a normal guy that got caught up in pretty much the underworld and the world of crime. And it just kind of shows, like, he does not want to be a part of this world. There's a part where Bats was trying to shoot someone while in the car, while in the getaway, and Baby pretty much swings the car around so, this guy doesn't get shot, for example. Eventually, Baby does use a gun, but, he really, even by the end, he never seemed like he was truly a part of that life of crime in a sense. I didn't really get a feeling that he liked it per se. even when he's in prison, I mean, he's just, it seemed like he's just some model prisoner, you know? Um, I assume at the end that he got parole after 5 years. Um, the little clips they show of him in prison kind of show that he's just keeps his head down, doesn't say anything, doesn't cause much attention or anything like that. So I assume that he got off in 5 years. Um, but yeah, I thought he did the job. I thought Ansel did the job well. Showed a lot of different sides of this character, and it's pretty funny too. He has a thing for sunglasses and iPods, and it's just kind of funny how that plays into the whole thing. His love interest is Deborah, Lily James. I was looking at her, and I was like, man, this girl's really pretty. First of all, I was like, where have I seen her from? What movies? What was big movies? And I'm like, Lily James. And I'm like, hold on. I think she's Cinderella, right? Um, yeah, so, um, she's interesting in the sense because she just gets caught up in it and doesn't, she, when the crew visits the diner, um, you can tell that, like, things aren't on the up and up. Like, she can tell that, like, things aren't on the up and up with baby. It's like what he's doing obviously isn't exactly legal. She gets caught up into it anyways. She kind of had this like free spirit thing. They wanted to drive away without a plan and a car they pretty much wouldn't be able to afford, listening to music. You know, and the connection with Deborah and Baby. There's a lot of like musical connection, and they're both just, I guess they're kind of tied down to things, but uh, if you're to look at it deeper, they're tied down to things. It seems like Deborah worked in the diner and hated it. She's kind of tied down to there. Um, Baby's kind of tied down to where he lives with Joseph and whatnot. And there is a sense that they want to get away from being tied down, but like outside forces, whether it's money or whatnot, are preventing them to do that. Maybe music's their way of getting out there. Driving seems to be the way that Baby gets kind of out there as well. Um, Doc, you know, you don't know much about the guy. You know very little. It was. This is kind of interesting with the guys that would be perceived as villains. It's that they kind of have, and I always like this. I always have this like multifaceted thing going on with them. That they're like villains, but there's just more to them. They're not just like not necessarily evil for the sake of being evil, or else, um, or yeah, in the case of Doc, it's like, hey, I need love once. I'm going to help you out, which is a large departure from the guy that in the restaurant said, like, threatened his girlfriend, threatened him, I think threatened Joseph as well. Um, Not much to know about him. Plays his part well, though, Kevin Spacey. He's always good as kind of like this serious, no nonsense, kind of sarcastic type of guy. Like, and I always think of Kevin Spacey, I think of a really sarcastic, like, and a lot of the parts he's in, he's really sarcastic, and he just kind of has that, like, going on for him as Doc. Buddy, played by John Hamm. You get to know a little bit about him, former Wall Street trader. Um, Seems like they do this. He really loved Darling, and seems like I think it was said that Buddy and Darling do this to pretty much fuel their drug habit. Uh, Buddy was interesting just because he was the one that seems to have taken a liking to Buddy or to Baby. They even listened to Queen together. Um, when people give him flack, Baby flack, like I think Griff gave him flack for like, hey, how come you're here? What's up with you? Buddy's like the guy that's like, hey, it's cool. Everything's cool. Uh, El, or excuse me, Darling makes mention that um, with Buddy, like his like darkness, his like dark side, really comes out. In a sense, Darling kind of held that in. When she was gone, he was unhinged, and then he started hunting Baby down pretty much to the end of the earth, cheating death on the way. you know. But like like I said, he was the one that you know didn't seem to have a problem with the guy. Was pretty cool about the guy, and actually seemed like a cool character. Um, but by the end of all, you got to see the other side of him, this dark side of him. Speaking of someone with just like the dark side, it's Bats, man. This guy was crazy. I mean, they go to a liquor store, they want gum. He's shooting the cashier and then taking the gum. He's going to the diner with his gun trying to shoot the waitress just because he can. Um, just a guy that's unhinged to begin with. He's the one that shoots the butcher. He's always on Baby's case. He just doesn't like him. He can see it though. He can kind of see that Baby isn't a part of this lifestyle. Like he doesn't fit in with this lifestyle, and it seems like he just gave him such a hard time with it because Bats is very much entrenched and wants to be in this lifestyle. It's a drug to him, to be kind of in this life of crime. Um, Funny guy, but he definitely is a loose cannon. And one thing is about Bats that that I'll mention too is that I said that this movie is really like fast paced, especially with the when they do the heist or like going under getaways and whatnot. One thing is when Bats is in the scene when they're not in a state of like intense action, there's generally a sense of tension when Bats is there. So whether it's extreme action or tension, Bats is kind of involved, and that extreme tension usually turns into violence when Bats is involved. We got to see Darling as well, who's Buddy's girlfriend. Kind of, like I said, keeps him in check. She seems to like Baby as well. Just she tells people to leave him alone and whatnot. Um, it, it seems like this is kind of fun for her as well. Um, her and Buddy are a pretty crazy couple, and but yeah, you didn't get to know too much about her. Honestly, she was just kind of the girlfriend. I think she could have been, like, because Jamie Foxx is saying, yeah, I'm guessing you're some sort of like, was she a hooker or something like that? That like Buddy picked up or something to that nature. So, she was entrenched into like this world as well. Um, but speaking of a guy that's just not a part of this world and really wanted nothing to do with it, Joseph, Baby's foster father, just not wanted nothing to do with this. He wanted Baby to get the heck out of this world. He didn't like that dirty money that like Baby kept hiding. He'd have stacks of hundreds like under a floorboard. Um, he approved of Baby wanting to be a pizza delivery guy and just wanted to Baby to live a life on the straight and narrow. He knew that like Baby was just in a situation that he was kind of forced into. He made a mistake, got into the really bad situation, but doesn't seem to want to be in that world. Joseph seemed to have known it. I mean, the way he interacts with Joseph too, I mean, it's just like that. I assume is kind of more of who Baby is. I mean, he is a crazy driver too. It's kind of tough to say. Like I said, there's definitely a sense of duality. That was the word I was looking for. With a lot of characters and the villains as well. That's what I really liked. Whether it's Buddy, Doc, Deborah, or Baby, there's this real big sense of duality. It's like, who are these people really? You know. And finally, the overall response from the critics, from what I read, all positive. It's fast, thrilling, different. They had some new ideas going on, good action. I mean, it's they said everything that needed to be said. There wasn't anything wrong with this movie per se. You can't. It's not like the characters are bad, or the action is bad, or the concept's bad, or the story is even that bad. It's like, okay, hey, this works. It's a good movie. I think it's a great movie. It's a fun movie, and the critics seem to like it. So yeah, that's all for today. If you like this, don't forget to subscribe, share, and comment to this channel if you're on YouTube, or follow, share, and comment on this channel if you're listening to this on SoundCloud. If you're listening to this on iTunes or Stitcher, please rate, review, and share this channel. Thank you for listening to this movie review. Next time, I will have a movie review for Spider-Man Homecoming, a manga review for Your Lie in April, volumes 8 and 9, and a reading of my short story, The Underachievers, pages 3 and 4. Thank you, and until next time.